plus the Wild Defiance Mono Green Infect package. Nothing too crazy. The most exciting aspect, of course, the Mutagenic Growth Gut Shot Apostle's Blessing, leading to an awful lot of wild shenanigans thanks to the Phyrexian mana.
Gotta get him dead.
Yeah. On the other side,
I have Mike Rosenberg. He is playing Wolf Run Ramp, which we've seen a little bit more of today than I thought we would.
Yeah.
He is red-green. He is not splashing blue, Reed Duke style. For those of you guys wondering at home, he has, for his basically his end game, only 4 Primeval Titans. You're not going to find like a Wormcoil Engine or Inferno Titan or anything here like that. He does have 400 Master of the Fells and 2 Thragtusk. And then you're going to find 3 Bonfire of the Dams, 2 Whip Flares.
What do you think about the whole Glimmer Post element? Everyone seems to have that.
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it. It gives the deck a different angle, which I'm a very, very big fan of. I think if you're playing Ramp, you can't leave home without it now at this point. Too important against Delver.
Well, you're part of the Seattle scene that really helped popularize Glimmer Post, right?
Yes,
like,
I think
Travis Wu spearheaded that, right?
I cannot
like
take full credit. That is the Wu Brew himself, as we see a Sphere of the Suns here.
He's a corporate man now, right? Like, doesn't he? He works for the man. He's over at Wizards.
He had a brief stay with Wizards, a little internship, but he is out in the field roaming.
Back to the brewing.
As we are going to see exactly what Ben can do here. We're going to see a Forest, and it looks like we're going to see a Necroclaw Mirror. Yes, we are. And we'll see exactly what Mike can do. Mike now knows what he's up against. He actually knew after turn 1 Inkmoth Nexus. But now he's fully aware of what he's up against. So now we'll see what he can do about it. Because we're going to see another Sphere of the Suns here. Traditionally a very good matchup for Infect. Ramp is.
Yeah?
Yes.
The giant growths protect you guys from the burn spells.
Correct.
And you're just faster.
You're just faster, and as you brought up Glimmer Post, this is one area where Glimmer Post does not actually save a deck post Primeval Titan. So Primeval Titan in this matchup effectively is just a 6-mana 6/6 Trampler, which isn't bad, but it's not really that good either.
What do you think of this? Mental Misstep, Gut Shot, Mutagenic Growth, Apostle's Blessing. He's got all the tricks.
Yes. And this is just the way that Infect goes about beating you. Is we're going to see another Forest here from Ben. We're going to see a Rancor here on the Ichorclaw Mirror. If that resolves, we're going to contemplate ourselves a little Galvanic Blast, and we're finally going to get a use for that Mental Misstep. So I'll trade 2 life to be able to keep my guy here.
And your Rancor.
And how about another Rancor?
And he's on a 2-turn clock.
And in for
5.
1-turn
clock now.
Yes.
Just like that. Ben threatening to win the game on the 4th turn. Through resistance.
So let's see exactly what Mike is going to be able to do here.
I mean, his game plan is just, he can't even chump. Like Ichorclaw Mirror getting a pump. Like, he's just dead to the board, right?
We'll see if he has any removal hiding out there.
Huntmaster of the Fells.
I think I see a Bonfire of the Dam sliding through here. Bonfire is fine, it's going to buy him time, but...
Not much. I mean, the Inkmoth Nexus will pick up a Rancor, and it'll just kill him outright if he's got another land.
Yep.
These Infect decks can come out so fast and hard.
So let's see what Mike's going to come up with. We see a Solemn, we see a Huntmaster of the Fells, a Green Sun Zenith, and a Bonfire of the Damned. Bonfire is the easiest one to kind of decide between, but not saying that's necessarily correct. It's going to remove a counter from the Sphere, and we're going to see a Huntmaster of the Fells. So that's going to move him up to a healthy 22.
And unfortunately, he's dead to the board.
So this is going to be a 5-power guy. Once it gets blocked, it's going to become a 7.
3 trampling over, 1 Nexus. No, so it takes anything. It takes a Giant Growth. It's not completely
it just takes a Giant Growth, yes.
Or an Apostle's Blessing.
Easy with that Apostle's Blessing, my friend.
Yeah?
You name green, those Rancors fall off.
Yeah, what about red?
Red will work. Red will work. I'm just making sure you know. I could give you a little more credit, but let's be careful. All it takes is that happening one time.
Ben debating, which of the multitude of ways to kill my opponent should I do? He even has the Mutagenic Growth to play around another Galvanic Blast. Not to mention a Mental Misstep.
Yeah.
He's got him beat lots of different ways.
Let's make sure he just makes... Oh, alright. Let's see what color he names. Ben imploring him. looks as though he named red here, and he's going to get in with both of his guys. He did name red, as you said. Yep.
So we go to game 2.
We are going to go to game 2. Ben Swartz up a game with Mono Green Infect against Wolf Run Ramp. You've got Ben's necklace in front of you, Patrick. What are you looking at here?
So it's not clear how good Viridian Corruptor is, because, I mean, like, what happens if Rosenberg doesn't draw one of those spheres? But the fact that he drew 2, I think there's a good chance that helps seal the deal that the Corruptor is at least an option to consider. Other than that, it's just the usual bring in 4 spell skites, just to have some interaction. The spell skites can redirect burn spells like Galvanic Blast, while at the same time stopping Keswick Wolf Run from working at all.
And one of the things that Spellskite is also going to be able to redirect is Ancient Grudge, which does have some merit here. You're also going to find 2 Crushing Vines on Mike's side, 2 Whip Flares, which aren't actually as good as they would look. Yes, they're going to take care of Glistener Elf, but they don't do anything to Ichorclaw Mirror or Inkmoth Nexus.
And they're not even going to do it that often, because like a mutagenic growth can totally throw that out the window.
Just completely counteract that. You're also going to see, we see a Viridian Corruptor here. That's going to come in. It's going to be able to take care of Ichorclaw Mirror, but also it trades favorably with poison creatures because it has Infect. Malaria, Sylvok Outcast, obviously coming in, as long as he's able to protect it.
Inferno Titan.
Inferno Titan, if we can get to that point, but it's definitely better than a Primeval Titan. So I think you're going to want one of those.
I don't think you board out the Primeval Titan either. You probably just board out one of the Thrag Tusks, right? Like the extra life and the it's not even a very good blocker.
Yeah, it doesn't fight very well. The Phyrexian Metamorph could potentially come in, just a copy of Poison Guy. Well, again, the 2 life that you're going to pay does not matter, but trading with an Infect creature does. Acidic Slime also
for sure
is going to come in here. So he's definitely got some options. They're not the fastest of options, but he does have ways to interact. And with the Malaria that he only has 2 Green Suns either. So
do you like Crushing Vines?
I do like Crushing Vines.
Just having Grudges, Vines, anything you can do to trade, especially, particularly when they don't just get beat by mutagenic growth.
Now, what's kind of interesting here is that he has these ways to interact with Ben, like Ben's artifact stuff, so his Inkmoth Nexuses and his Ichorclaw Mirrors. But Ben could just do something simple like just playing Glistener Elf, and then like the Ancient Grudge and the Vines aren't going to do very much. So it'll be interesting to see which threats Ben draws and then which answers Mike draws, because neither of these decks have deck manipulation or card drawing.
Is there any chance he tries to do the Okie Doke and doesn't board the Spell Skites in, and in fact boards the Ichorclaw Mirrors out and boards in Viridian Corruptor, and it's just on the non-artifact Infect plan?
That's actually, I didn't even consider that. That's actually a very good question.
I mean, he's got Green Sun Zenith, Glistener Elf, Viridian Corruptor, and he could sneak in Inkmoth Nexus when there's an opening.
Sure.
But, you know, with that many non-artifact guys, he could actually blank all the artifacts kill that's sure to come in.
I think it's an angle. It's not one that I considered before you brought it up, that's for sure, but I could see some merit to that.
Ben
You're
Swartz,
blanking 4 cards.
No, and you know, Ben is willing to go ahead and get dirty. He's a little filthmonger. He'll pull out the technology that, you know, probably should be washed off before dinner, like before you sit down at the table with it, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to get dirty when you're playing Mono Green Infect.
It's not above anything. Filthmonger. It's been a hot minute since I've heard the old filthmonger. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Hell yeah! Just ask Ben Rubin. You know, basically the filthier you are, the more like Ben Rubin you are.
And he's a Hall of Famer, so
he's many things to many people.
That's fair. That's fair. To me, he's a Hall of Famer and he's BR. That's who he is to me. BR
and hey, I'd like to give a shout out at this point to BR. Props. Also, my mom. I love you. And we're back at the match.
Mrs. Chapin, a fine individual. It is Mrs. Chapin.
It is.
Correct? Okay,
absolutely.
Want to make sure
she's going to be at Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Coming out?
Yeah.
Any reason?
Yeah, I'm getting inducted into the Hall of Fame.
One of the better reasons. Humble brag, if you will. I guess that's a good reason to make the trip. Seattle's also a beautiful city, so that would be but first and foremost, I guess she should show up for that. As both players are deciding on their opening 7s momentarily here. The sideboarding is done. Mike Rosenberg on the play this game with his Wolf Run Ramp deck. We'll see what he can do. Pretty interested to see if Ben did keep in Mental Misstep as well, because it doesn't have any targets in Mike's deck except for those 4 Galvanic Blasts. There is 1 Birds of Paradise as well. But
yeah, I think that the Galvanic Blast alone is enough for him to want to keep some amount of that business. The gut shots, I think, have got to be the first to go, though.
Yeah.
4 gut shots immediately become Viridian Corruptors or Spellskites or whatever.
As Ben is going to take a trip to Paris, go on down to 6 cards. Now, do they let you guys do a speech for the Hall of Fame? Is there anything cool like that?
Dude,
like
I don't know.
Like a Hall of Fame
Never
speech,
been in it
baseball
before.
style? They should give you guys a nice podium, a little soapbox, a couple thank yous.
Absolutely. Might have already did that though with the BDM article.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. Besides, Sashi was missing in action for that anyway.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he was off being in Asia. It's not always easy to wrangle up. All right, Ben, still shuffling. He's going to 6.
He is on his way to 6. Now this deck mulligans, I have some pretty good experience with mono green. In fact, it mulligans to 6 relatively well.
5 is harsh.
5 you don't really want to go to. I suppose 5 on the draw is reasonable, but you don't want to go to 5.
I'm assuming the 6-card hand is going to be
He doesn't
4
look,
mutagenic growths, a forest, and a glistener elf.
that hand's okay. Mediocre, really. He doesn't look happy. All right, down to 5 we're
Ah,
going.
but that's only 9. He wants something even better.
So Ben on his way to 5. Got to compliment Ben on his hair, for the record. It's just a lot of
I'm sure
action
he would appreciate
there.
that.
He's dying to get a haircut. I was with him yesterday at the Dodgers game. He hates his hair right now.
Yeah?
Which makes me love it even more. Just a healthy afro.
Tell me more about his hair.
Well, there's nothing it can't do.
Yeah?
It holds head and shoulders well.
Yeah.
You see the sideburns there starting to leak through. There's a lot going on.
When was the last event we saw Ben actually playing in? Because he's often on the coverage side of things.
I know that. I actually think the last event that he played in was the PTQ that he played this deck in. And he lost playing for top 8. He made the trip out to Detroit, your old stomping grounds, Pandemonium.
Yeah.
And he lost playing for top 8 of that tournament. So I think that's the last live event that he's played in. So we are going to see a 5-carder here from the...
I'm telling you. As soon as they start letting RIW have the PTQs. Man.
Uh-oh, is he going to keep this 5?
It doesn't look...
That's one of those grins
Yeah.
of, I have to
It's
keep.
a mathematical keep.
Yeah, I don't want to keep, but I have to keep.
I love a mathematical keep.
All right, we have a cavern in play.
Ben Stark would be proud.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
2 caverns. What is possibly a mathematical keep out of Mike Rosenberg as well.
And I'm all in on malaria.
Well,
As those caverns are naming human and giant. And we're going to see an Ichorclaw mirror just past the turn.
the quick turn to Ichorclaw Mirror. Rosenberg essentially doubling his life total.
Oh, there's a forest. All right. Now, he has a lot of red cards in his hand. Malaria's going to come on in. That's...
Taste it.
I'm going to read this. That's bold. Fortune favors the bold. Mutagenic growth.
Huh.
That was a bold strike. And,
Huh.
oh, no. Oh, no.
All right. Well, there you go.
And now passing back. Oh, boy.
Huh.
Ben coming across
No,
for
but
1.
you know what? At the end of the day, what are the odds the mono green deck has a pump spell?
And Titanic growth. Titanic growth.
Rosenberg
Putting
drops
up
to 20
poison.
life.
All right, let's see what Mike Rosenberg can do now. We're going to see a Green Sun Zenith for 3.
Viridian
I
Corruptor.
believe this will be the Corruptor as Ben is leafing through his hand and seeing just 2 forests.
Not an Apostle's Blessing. Cleverly turning the cards around to keep them all facing the same way. Very important etiquette. So, Rosenberg missing half his health, but you know what? Honestly, it's the second half I'd be more concerned about.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
And it's not even really about the second half. It's mostly the 10th one.
So we'll see what Ben can draw. Ben
I mean, I guess it's like a Wild Defiance or some stuff. Ooh,
interesting how you got a gift.
That's
you
weird.
Have a gift, my friend.
I swear, the people at home are going to think we're on like a tape delay or something.
Yeah.
No. I'm actually just cursed with the site.
As we see an attack for 2 poison here from Mike Rosenberg, perhaps turning the tables?
Yeah.
Infecting him
Swartz
out?
Not a lot of business on this side of the table.
Swartz.
But he'll get there in a couple turns. It's going to take him a minute. The problem is, as soon as Rosenberg draws a red mana, this game is going to be on a shorter clock anyway. The Wild Defiance ensures that the burn spells are not super effective.
Indeed, indeed. As we see, Master of the Fells flip to his alter ego, and we are going to see an attack here, as it does deal 2, of course. We're going to see an attack here of the normal and likely infect variety. All aboard. So 6 regular, 2 infect, a little bit of this.
Yeah, 6 in the front, 6 in the front, 2 in the back.
Yes, sir.
So what does Swartz need to draw? One of the problems with these infect decks, they do not like top deck well. Like once they're out of business, I mean their deck is a bunch of Elvish Furies and like Mons' Goblin Raiders.
It gets ugly fast.
Yeah.
It really does. And there is not a ton for him to draw to at this point. I mean, it starts with a guy, and then it has to be a pump spell, turning basically into a combination deck, as we see another forest here from Ben. He's just going to pass back.
And that was the way you lay a forest when you are beaten and dejected. He has given up.
The writing may or may not be on the wall.
No, nobody plays a forest like that who hasn't already given up and is just going through the motions until they can get to game 2. Game 3, I guess.
I'll keep that in mind the next time we play.
Yeah.
If there is a next time.
I'm playing at the next Pro Tour, so look for me.
Okay.
You're gonna be at that one,
I
right?
will be there.
Very nice.
Hopefully not spectating.
Well, no, I mean...
At any point.
Stream team's got to represent.
We have a Green Sun Zenith here by Benny. Benny, not giving up.
I'm just playing Zoo. Now that Nakatl's banned, I'm in. That's the signal I was waiting for.
Sold. As we see Viridian Corruptor, he did board at least 1 in.
Yeah.
You did bring that up, and that's going to do it.
And move to game 3.
Alrighty, well.
So, I mean, as expected, a double mulligan. Not where Ben Swartz really wants to be, but so be it.
So Ben is going to change some things up, likely. I predict he's probably going to board in his copy of Malaria, just to be able to counteract Mike's.
Legend rule it?
Legend ruled right out.
Yeah.
Ben has, let me make sure the number of copies. He has 4 Green Sun Zenith in his deck, so 5 shots at it. He can also board in some number of dismembers if he'd like to be able to take care of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, and particularly since now that he's seen Master of the Fells, might actually be worth having some dismember action. He's just so tough, though. You need to have one more threat than they have removal spells, or at least that they don't deal with, and you need to have enough pump spells to finish the job before he gets into his stage 3 of just Primeval Titan, kill you.
Yeah, starting to get a little gross. And for Mike's part, Mike doesn't look like he's changing up too much. Just content with shuffling and the chit chats.
Every day I'm shuffling.
Ben with a brief switch, but we'll see what he can do. I do think that being on the play for Ben in this game is a huge deal. Being on the play in this matchup and being on the play with Infect overall is a big deal, but being on the play game 3 here after Mike has boarded in a substantial amount of hate is going to be a way for Ben to basically take this game before Mike can get all the cards out of his hand.
All right, question for everybody everybody at home. 2 things. 1, anybody who is correcting the way that I spelled kamikaze on Twitter, are you serious? Do you really think I don't know how to spell kamikaze? They got some branding type of stuff. They don't spell it traditionally. They spell it like comic books. It's a thing,
Okay.
But 2, if anybody who has seen that Brian Kibler LSV GIF, whatever it is, of the bonfire appeal, what soundtrack do you put to that? Because I'm thinking First, you have Brian Kibler, Every Day I'm Shuffling. You know the video I'm talking about.
Of course.
Right. Next in the sequence, after you've been doing that one, you got to watch the LSV Kibler getting bonfired right out. What soundtrack do you put to those 5 seconds? Tweet at us at SCG Live. Hashtag SCGLA. Let us know. Bonus points if anybody actually puts that together. and honestly, 5 seconds wouldn't be enough. Just loop that for like a few minutes. We got to send that to Louise.
I'm thinking right now what kind of song.
Dude, have Kibler and Louise just open up their mailbox and, hi, Brian Kibler, you've got mail. Memories.
The first one that's jumped to mind for me is Linkin Park In the End. In the end, it doesn't even matter. And then he dies to a bonfire of the damned.
That's a pretty good choice.
That one's the first that jumps to mind right now. Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day. Also not bad. Those are the first 2 hits that come to my mind with my pop music influence. I think those are two. I feel that we can do better, but
tweet at us.
You can definitely tweet at us
Live.
At SCG Live. Hashtag SCGLA. And we can kind of run them down. Either after this round or the beginning of the next round.
We're going to pull out our top 3. And anybody who syncs it up is looking real good to make the top 3.
Yeah. As we have Ben contemplating, it looks like Ben has chosen to keep. Look at the slide grin.
Oh, look at that.
You know that hand's good. Oh, you know that hand's good.
Is that Forest, Inkmoth Nexus, Glistener Elf, 4 pump spells?
Mike is in the tank here. Decisions. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
All right, down to 6. Ben has an air of confidence right now. Oh, now Ben is even stealing my trick now, the pen in the mouth trick. That's one of my favorites right there.
Yeah.
That's how you know I'm in the tank. The pen in the mouth.
Yeah.
And I also don't visit that place very much. So if the pen is in my mouth, I'm in there.
Yeah?
I'm deep in the tank.
Yeah. Does it matter, like, which side of the pen?
No. Well, it's not going to be the side. Thank you. You know, I can't believe I even considered answering that question. You set me up.
All right, Mike Rosenberg likes his 6. No, he doesn't. He hasn't even drawn him yet. But I got to read on the
You've got a feeling that he likes his 6.
Unfortunately, I can't unsee what has been seen.
Patrick, the Mind Sculptor.
Architect of Thought these days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
6 cards. Mikey.
You'd think people would figure it out. Mind Sculptor, Architect of Thought.
You would think.
Put it together, people.
As we see an Inkmoth
Wizards
Nexus.
of the Coast reprinted Jace.
We see an Inkmoth Nexus hit play
Get
for
the
Ben.
facts. All right, turn 1, Inkmoth Nexus.
Copperline Gorge here for Mike. We're going to see, does he have the birdie? Maybe he has a Galvanic Blast. Maybe he has nothing. All right, looks like he just passed the turn back. Ben is going to slide some cards up and down and all around.
So he does have Mental Misstep, so he doesn't have to fear Galvanic Blast.
Okay.
But does he have an Ickerclaw Mirror or some other threat that he'd like to advance the board with?
I do see a Glistener Elf in his hand. I think he's trying to decide, do I want to get in for 1 there? Do I want a Green Sun Zenith for a threat? You know, how exactly do I want to set up these games to basically get Mike dead by turn 4 or 5?
If he plays the Glistener Elf, he can save the Green Sun to potentially go get a Viridian Corruptor if Mike plays a Sphere.
Or
on the other hand,
Valyria as well.
Absolutely. On the other hand, if he would have played the Green Sun there, next turn he can play the Glistener Elf and still get in there for 1 with the Nexus.
Correct. As we're going to see an Inkmoth Nexus here from Mike, and he's just going to pass on back. So it's on Ben to make the decisions now, as we see him draw an Ickerclaw Mirror. There's also a Wide Defiance hiding out in his hand. Doesn't look
Wildly.
Does not look like he has a 3rd land, so he's just going to come on in here for 1 poison.
That's the sound of getting poisoned.
That's the sound? That's the sound of getting poisoned.
Like. Poisoned right off a cliff, but.
And Ickerclaw Mirror.
We ain't afraid of no slag storms.
But we are potentially afraid of a Bonfire of the Damned now.
So what do you make of Mike playing the Ink Moth Nexus there instead of the Rootbound Craig? Oh, okay, he does have the Forest. Still, shuts off Slagstorm as a potential option this turn. Not that he has one, but it would be nice if he drew one.
What do we see here? We see a Ramping Growth here. All right. So that's probably going to get the second red that we've been looking for. Yep. Now, in Mike's hand, there is a Galvanic Blast, but as you said, Ben does have a Mental Misstep. So that base is covered. Mike also has a Solemn Simulacrum, but he is just going to pass back to Ben. Ben really looking for a third land so he can play his Wild Defiance. Let's see if he finds it here.
Mental Misstep.
Yep. He's going to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, he's thinking maybe he should just save that Green Sun Zenith. Instead of getting the Glistener Elf, maybe save it for Malira later if he needs to kill Malira and not overcommit and get wrecked by Slagstorm. Just swing with the Nexus, the Ichor Mirror, and the Glistener Elf. Put Mike on a little bit of a clock here.
We're going to see a Galvanic Blast there on the Nexus.
I'm sorry. Did you miss a step?
No, he grew up.
Wow, that's even worse.
So we are going to see Poison for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to put Mike up to 6 counters. Now, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I like Galvanic Blasting on your own turn so that exact thing doesn't happen to you.
Well, that I definitely agree with, as we are going to see Maliri here. But, I mean, for Misstep there, we know he has Wild Defiance, so I feel like Mutagenic Growth's value is, like, much higher.
The Mental Misstep?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I think Mental Misstep, it's like, all you're hoping to do is trade it with a Galvanic Blast. And I realize the Growth traded profitably, but you're going to get those 2 points eventually anyway. It might be nice to be able to save your guy, but either way, he needs to draw another land in a hurry so that he can get a Green Sun for Malira.
Well, Ben's draw this turn was a Cathedral of War.
All right, well, that means Malira can come down next turn.
So he did find his third land, but as you said, you know, those Mental Missteps aren't going to get a lot better. He's going to just attack him for 2 regular damage, it looks like. Try to induce a block.
I think he has a better chance of inducing labor.
So we're going to see a Kessig Wolfrun. Oh boy.
Nice to have a Mutagenic Growth.
Wouldn't hurt. Inferno Titan into play. This game has turned around drastically for Mike Rosenberg. And I mean in a hurry. And this time he's going to elect not to attack with Malaria.
He's learned his lesson.
Ben Swartz under the gun badly here.
Another Mental Misstep. Or is it the same one?
I think it's the same one.
Oh, he drew a Mutagenic Growth. So, Green Sun Zenith from Malira.
Takes care of the first problem.
And then he's on a 2-turn clock from the Inferno Titan. So he pretty much has to go off on the next turn. Because he doesn't really have any answers to Inferno Titan.
And it's a pretty big deal that that was Inferno Titan and not Primeval Titan.
Yeah.
It changes a lot in this game.
And honestly, if he would have kept that Mutagenic Growth so that he could Mutagenic Growth, keep his guy, he'd be in much better shape.
Yeah,
now, probably not good enough shape still, but
as we're going to see Wild Defiance here from Ben. How do you feel about that versus searching for Malaria with Green Sun Zenith, assuming that he's boarded one in?
I mean, maybe he thinks the only way he can go off is to have Wild Defiance with some Mutagenic Growth on his Nexus and just beat him with damage. Math is hard. I know that much.
So this is going to be an attack for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 because of the Inferno Titan trigger. And there's Prime Time.
Oh my god, 2 Glimmer Posts is insane.
Now this is interesting now, right? Because if he would have searched for Malaria to kill his Malaria, it changes the way Mike plays, right? Like now Mike is just like, okay, like I can tap out to cast this Titan. But before, if Maliria's not on the table and it's just Inferno Titan, maybe he just attacks with Inferno Titan and leaves Ink Moth Nexus out. But now there's no way for Ben to actually kill him. So, yeah, so there's nothing he can do now. Now he's just facing down 2 Titans and lethal. So, Mike Rosenberg with Wolf Run Ramp.
Another Wolf Run victory.
Which looked to be a relatively poor matchup for him. Defeats Ben Swartz playing Mono Green Infect 2-1. Mike will be moving on to, we're in round 6, moving on to 5-1. And that'll give Ben his 2nd loss on the weekend.